Hello there and welcome to this short video which we've made to complement some of the training courses and workshops that Eolus are delivering currently. Now on those courses we teach a range of knots. These are knots that we've used personally for a good number of years. Knots that you'll use to tie ropes onto objects, for example trees. We'll also look at knots that join ropes together very securely. We'll look at a range of slip knots that you can use to tie up bundles of sticks or willow. And lastly, we'll look at a knot that you can use to tie a permanent loop into a length of rope, which can be a handy thing for a whole range of applications. So the first knot we're going to show you is called a clove hitch. Probably one of the kind of simpler knots out there, and definitely not one I would use where you're attaching a rope to something that's going to be put under a lot of strain, but ideal for crafting, ideal for sort of den building and whatnot. So what we're going to do here is we've got the rope in our hand, working end on the left. We're going to take hold of the standing part of the rope and twist it away from us. Now this action is akin to starting your car, but kind of twisting away from you. We do that once and then we do that twice. So I'll just do that again for you. You get your plain standing part of rope, we take hold of that and twist our hand away, and it creates one loop, and then we do the same again to create a second loop. So the loop that's nearest you, we put that under the other loop, and then both loops, you can put them over whatever you want to attach to and pull it tight, and that gives you a clove hitch. So if you're wanting to tie a clove hitch over any object where you can't actually create a knot and slip it over the end, it's a fairly straightforward knot to tie. So in this occasion it's the arm of a garden seat. Ensuring you've got enough length of rope, take the rope over whatever you're tying it onto. It comes up underneath, and then at this point it crosses over itself, comes back up again, and then on this occasion it goes under itself. So you have that shape there, and that's your clove hitch. Again, it's a knot ideal for crafting and for lightweight use, but certainly not one that I would use where I was going to be putting the rope under quite a bit of tension, because they can slip. Well, the next knot we're going to look at is known as a timber hitch, which is used to, it's a simple knot which is used to tie cordage or rope onto to a tree with, this is about a 4 or 5 inch diametered bit of rowan here, so something that size or bigger, the timber hitch is fine. So we do that by taking the working end round any way you wish, and then place the working end over the standing part. So this is the working end here. Make sure you've got enough of it, and then it goes back the way it came. So it's going to go back round where it came from, but in doing so it wraps itself round itself 3 times. So we have a twisted part here, we've got the coiled part here with a small loop at the end through which the rest of the rope comes through. So we dress the knot, tighten it up gently against the tree, and that there will give us a lot of strength. It's a self-tightening knot, so the harder you pull, the tighter the friction will be between the coiled part and the tree bark. So the next knot is known as the bowline. Very much a nautical knot, but an excellent all-round general purpose knot for attaching any diameter of cord or rope to anything that you can get your rope round. So ideal for any diameter of tree and even round square fence posts. So we start this knot again by taking the working end, take it round from the right hand side. So the working end is now in my left hand. We've got the standing part here on the right. We are going to take hold of the standing part and twist the rope away from us. The same action as you would if you were starting your car. So we're taking hold of the rope and twisting it away from it, and it creates this loop here to the outside. We're going to reach through this loop now and take hold of the standing part that's nearer you. So we're going to reach through there and take hold of that, and that creates a small hump, and it's through that hump that we're going to place the working end and pull the working end through it. And then we dress this knot, just pulling it gently, and as we're pulling it, the working end in this part that I'm touching with my thumb here, it flips over and points towards the tree, and we're left with this classic bowline shape. Very, very strong knot. The actual rope would actually break quicker than the knot coming undone, and even after applying a lot of pressure to the knot, it comes undone very easily. So we're now going to move on to our first quick release knot, which is a development of the Clove Hitch, and this one is called the Exploding Clove Hitch. Quite a dramatic name, but it's quite a useful knot, and again not one that you would use if the rope was going to go under quite a bit of load bearing. Anyway, we start again by taking the rope round your object, and then as we did on the first Clove Hitch, we created the two loops which we put round our finger like that, and then we create a bite in our left hand which goes through the Clove Hitch knot, and then we tighten that up carefully. So essentially the Clove Hitch is round a bite, and that there will hold, and to release it we just pull the tag on the left. So this knot, this is one that I've kind of came upon many years ago. Can't find a name for it. I'm uneven sure whether it was something that I came upon by accident by playing around with ropes, but it's a very, very effective knot for tying up bundles of uneven things like these lengths of hazel. Clove hitches, as you may have already discovered, they only really work if they're getting tightened against a smooth surface, a smooth even surface. Very, very good for things like willow, but for chunkier stuff like this here, this knot's a very good one. So we create a bite with the full length of your bit of cord. This is about a metre and a half length of cordage, and we take the bend round the bundle of sticks, and the bend we fold it back in itself and fold it in itself, and this is what we call a lark's head. So the bend we fold back in itself and then fold the ears in, and that creates what's called a lark's head. So the ends of the piece of cord on this side, we bring one up on the right hand side and take it through the lark's head, and we bring the other up from the left hand side and bring it through the lark's head. And probably the easiest way to tie this is to tighten the knot together at this point, even though it's still slack. Get the knot dressed into that shape, and then we can pull on these two, the two lengths, the two ends, and that tightens the knot round your bundle of sticks. There's probably going to be a few occasions where a loop in the length of a piece of rope is going to be a useful thing, rather than a loop tied at the end, which may be useful for some things. There may be occasions where you need a loop in the middle, either to set up a pulley point or to create a series of loops in the length of the rope to maybe hang jackets on or other utensils. So the knot that we use for creating a loop in the middle is known as an Alpine Butterfly. So the Alpine Butterfly starts in the same way as we do the Clove Hitch and the Bowline, where we take hold of the rope and we twist it away from us, just like the starting the car kind of position, and then creating a loop, and we spread this loop out into that kind of shape. We then do the exact same thing again starting the car, and it produces kind of figure of 8 shape, or a kind of infinity sign. So this part of the rope here that I'm indicating, when we pick up both cross points, so here and here, when we pick them up, this part of the rope where my pinky is falls down underneath and through to the left, so that's this point here, and then it comes up and through the double loops, and that produces the Alpine Butterfly, which we just pull tight like that, and that's your Alpine Butterfly knot, which can be put under an awful lot of strain, and it's always easy to come out. So there will be some occasions where you need to join ropes together, either because of the trees you're trying to create your ridgeline between are too far apart, or you're needing a longer length of rope for a particular activity. So I'm going to show you two knots to join ropes together. The first one is called the sheet bend, and this one is specifically for two ropes that are different diameters. So we've got about a 10mm climbing rope here, and this is a part of a kind of 8mm braided polypropylene. So there's a difference of 2mm there, which is enough to make this knot successful. So in the thicker knot, we create a bend, giving ourselves a decent kind of tail. From underneath we bring the thinner rope, which we pull through like that. It then goes round the back of the doubled part of the thicker rope, and then it goes under itself, but still on top of the thicker rope. So we have that shape there. So from this position we dress the knot by just pulling things tightly and gradually, and then eventually put quite a bit of pressure on both the thinner and the thicker rope, and that produces the final sheet bend, which will withstand quite a bit of pressure, but not one that I would use for anything other than maybe a ridge line between trees or games or whatever. So where we're wanting to join two ropes together, which are of the same diameter, again here we've got two 8mm braided polypropylene cordage. We use a knot, or the knot that I would recommend is called the Zeppelin knot. So in the first rope we create a number 6, where the tail is above the other part of the rope, and in the other rope, in the red rope, we create a 9, where the tail in this occasion is underneath the main part of the rope. The 6 then sits on top of the 9. The first thing we do is we take the tail from the number 9, which is underneath, and we bring it up and put it through the double loop, and the tail of the 6, which is on top, we take it down and underneath and back through the double loop, and then dress this knot just by pulling everything together carefully, and we have this shape here, which is the Zeppelin knot.